men.
They do.
Hey, Wes, what's up, brother?
Oh man, I'll tell you. I was just thinking. I said something to Carson. She said something about you being all over the place. I said Randy has been all over the place. I haven't even talked to him. I think it's because we'd seen you there for I don't know about 3 or 4 months. I think we saw you 3 or 4 times. So
I think so.
yeah,
Exactly. Now all of a sudden, yeah, and it's that busy time. I've the January, February, March for me is probably the busiest time travel wise, because of shows. And
right.
so there's, you got a combination of national trade shows, association meetings and shows, customer open house events, and they're, I've got sometimes 2 a week right now. So it's in long 2, 3, 4 day ones. So yeah, it's busy, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's why it works out. We work these rack and stacks in when we can, and we just keep having amazing guests, and every now and then we even allow really good ones to come back, and that's the case today, right?
Yeah, and we have all been on his show. He's been on our
Yes,
show. My daughter's been on his show. So Ian is like a member of the Building Winds and Wyatt family.
he is exactly great guy, and an incredible sales pro and coach, teacher, and all that kind of stuff. And he's a speaker, an author, a coach, sales mentor, and like you mentioned, he hosts a podcast, Confessions of a Sales Pro, which I'm going to be blessed to be on for my second appearance with him here soon. Yeah, he's just the consummate pro, as they say, and I think we can probably quit talking and just go talk to the big guy himself. What do you think?
Let's do that. And a snazzy dresser, I might add.
He is a snazzy. Check the shirt out. I feel like I should be. Can you take me off screen while I go change? I feel a little underdressed.
That's right.
All right, let's do it. My brother, how are you?
I'm great, my brother. How you doing, Randy? Great to be back, by the way, man.
It's great to have you back. Let's see if we don't screw this one up. Maybe we'll do better.
If you don't get it right the first time, try again.
We'll just keep doing it. We'll do it over and over until we get it right. But I do feel like with we had to pay respect to your dress for the day. I felt like I really should go and like spiff up my image a little bit here. I'm here with what have I got on today? My Under Armour shirt. But yeah, that's all right. You're the guest, so you should look better.
Well, it's funny. It's sort of like the Zoom apparel, right? Like ever since COVID, we all got nice shirts with our boxers.
Exactly. Oh, you're wearing boxers.
Just don't ask me to stand. Everything's fine. Don't ask me to stand.
I understand. I think it's that age-old thing, and it's funny, especially when the whole Zoom and Teams and Google Meet and all that became big, probably more so during COVID than any time. How many people would make that mistake and get up for a minute and they got their shorts on, or they got hopefully shorts on, but underwear, whatever. And it's like, yeah, okay, you might want to, if you think you're going to get up, practice that before it starts, just to see what it looks like, right? Because we've all been.
Go refill your coffee cup. You could be in trouble.
You could, and I remember when Ian, during COVID, especially when I couldn't travel, Wes and I were doing sometimes 2 or 3 live shows a week, or recording some, because you couldn't travel, so you might as well do shows. And I remember that I used to have like 3 shirts hung in my office / studio, so that I would jump up in between and put on a different shirt, maybe adjust this just a little, so a little different angle, so. And then I figured out one day that the bulk of my audience, and it just is because of the nature of my industry, it tends to be male. Even though I do have a lot of great lady followers as well, but I realized that us men, especially, you could wear that same shirt tomorrow and I wouldn't notice.
Right.
And so I thought, you know what? There's nobody going to watch a show on Friday and then another one on Monday and go, that was really interesting, but Randy had the same shirt on. It's just
That's
not.
because you recorded them back to back, and no one knows that.
And nobody knows that exactly. So I stopped worrying about that. So I used to do this. So when Wes and I do some rack and stacks. We do 3, sometimes up to 3 a day, certain times. I used to switch in between each one. I don't do that anymore. You get what you get because number one, I usually don't do them in the order that I record them.
Right.
So, this one might be literally this week, and the one I did in 20 minutes from now might be 3-4 weeks from now. Nobody pays any attention. So,
right. No.
Yeah. But anyway, well, welcome. And not, that was a whole lot of nothing. But anyway, we do nothing well. That's one thing we do.
You do nothing very well, my friend.
That's one of the things I'm best at.
On building wins with you. I got
Well, it's great.
Thank you so much for having me back.
It's great to have you back. And as we discussed, you're sitting there looking at the water and looking at out your window in Vancouver, but looking across at the U.S. So wave at us all. We all happy. There you go. Hi from Canada. So I think we got all the important stuff like who you are, your speaker, author, coach, sales mentor, and host of Confession of a Sales Pro, which is an outstanding show. And look forward to chatting with you again soon on that. But your focus recently has been on kind of 3 areas, right? If I'm not mistaken, the 3 Ps, if you will: people, process, and performance. Let's chat about that a little bit today. What are the 3 Ps, and let's take us through what you're doing, if you don't mind.
Certainly, Randy. Happy to expand on that a bit. People, I get brought into sales organizations typically to improve their sales organization, not just their process, but the people have a lot to do with sales success. So one of the things that I do is a sales assessment. I will come into an organization, interview their management, their leadership team, interview all of their salespeople, like a 90-minute one-on-one interview with each of them, going through all aspects of the effectiveness model, which is value propositions, sales process, sales competencies, sales management, marketing. So I look at all aspects, and then I put together a recommendation report back to management with the situation as it is. And I summarize the observations, and I like to make not 16 recommendations because that can paralyze organizations, but
Right.
5 or 6. So I come from the position of, if I had ownership in the company, if I had some stock, what 5 or 6 things would I want to change to create a well-oiled selling machine that creates customer loyalty for life? So one of the outcomes of the sales assessment, Randy, is something I call a sales talent scorecard, which looks at the top 10 criteria that good selling for that company should have. And then going across is all of their salespeople and their ratings. So that creates an overall team rating. And a lot of decision-making gets made as a result of that. Who should we keep? Who do we need to develop? And maybe who's just not a right fit, given where we want to take the organization. The decisions happen. And when you bring in new people to the organization, new sales talent, you use the scorecard to improve your overall average. So it constantly becomes a live, breathing, dynamic document that is always looking to improve the overall average and therefore continue to improve the organization. So that's the people side of it. It's quite often where I start. Other organizations will say, no, we've got great people. We don't have process and we're just lacking performance. And okay, you can start that. Sometimes the assessment comes after the fact, depending on the situation, but a very healthy place to start is the people side. And then I move us into the process, which I've, through the last 25 years, as you know, I've been doing sales training globally. I've taught over 17,000 people in 8 countries around the world. So I laid down a 2-day consultative sales training program, which is the foundations of the process. Okay. One of the things we're managing in sales process is the pipeline, which is deals that are in play to help grow the revenue and, of course, margin for the organization. So we've developed our own software called SalesLook, which is an app. It's not a CRM, not meant to replace CRM at all. It's meant to free your sales force, giving them more time to do what they do best, which is to sell more. And so it's very simple. It completely has our sales methodology integrated and built into it. So when you look at your sales look at, wow, we just went through the 2-day course. That's exactly what we're talking about. We're on the same page. So that makes tracking the pipeline, reporting the pipeline up to management far easier than it's ever been. And then we move into the process side, Randy, which is really where the rubber meets the road. The assessment, yes, we might have changed some people, hired some new ones. We've trained them now. Now we're all ready to with more process and things to go ahead and do things. But now we've got to put the rubber on the road, and that's what performance is all about. So there's 3 aspects to the performance side of things, and one is something that we call Pipeline Wednesday. And what this is an outreach campaign every second Wednesday for a 3-hour block of time. The sales force do nothing but outreach, call and book new meetings with new prospects, which is doing what? Building their pipeline.
Right.
So a year and a half ago, I did an engagement with a client in New York. They had pretty much the pipeline when I got there and did the assessment. We did a lot of changes. We did the training, and then we put them on the performance program. And in 1 year, we built a $70 million pipeline just on Pipeline Wednesday. So it becomes competitive. It becomes, no one wants to lose a Pipeline Wednesday. So the salespeople text me their appointments, who they're meeting and when. I update the online scorecard and scoreboard, and I text it back to the group thread. So they've got play-by-play up to the minute scoreboard on are they winning or losing the campaign. So that gets that competitive. You think salespeople are a little competitive, Randy?
Yes,
just a little, right?
Just a bit.
That just generates a whole lot of activity, and it builds pipeline. It actually builds sales muscle. Once you've been doing it for a few months, it's something you don't want to ever stop doing because it generates pipeline and revenue. So activity, pipeline, results. That's the order that it flows in. So without Pipeline Wednesday, we're not really driving results yet. So that's one of the things. On a monthly basis, I do one-on-one 1-hour reviews with each sales rep in the program. And that's looking at their activity, looking at their pipeline, coaching them on what they need to do more of or less of, maybe holding them accountable on their goals, their activity goals. And then I take all of those monthly sales reviews, I integrate it to a report to management so they can see how their people are progressing along the way. The third and last part of the performance stage is something that I call the Top Deals Roundtable. Now, this is something I facilitate via Zoom, so it can be remotely done from anywhere. And it's a 1 hour every second week Zoom call. Each salesperson will pick the top 5 deals in their pipeline, and they'll talk about those deals. And I'll coach them on strategies. What about this? Have you met that person? Where is it in the pipe? And to help them win the deals. So that's what it is. Again, Pipeline Wednesday, monthly sales review, and of course the Top Deals Roundtable. That's the performance piece.
That is a lot of stuff. So you're obviously way more. This is obviously coaching and training, but it's heavy emphasis on mentoring during the process, which I think is hugely important, right?
Absolutely. And part of it is I've got some clients who I've been doing this with for years, and they don't want to stop the performance piece because it's driving results, and the ROI they're getting is huge, or they'd stop. Mm-hmm. Some companies would like me to eventually mentor their sales leadership to take the baton, to pass the wheel over to them so they continue to drive the same level of performance. So either way works for me. I'm just happy to see my clients get the results they're hoping to get.
Sure. And I really enjoy or appreciate like you said, your clients will sometimes pick and choose sort of a la carte, if you will. But I like your theory, and I think it's on purpose. I'm sure getting to know you well over the last 3 years. People, process, and performance, as you sort of alluded to, that people, it's pretty important, vitally important, right? That comes first in this process.
Absolutely, Randy. I mean, I've done it where clients, I think I might have alluded to it, where clients say, oh, no, our people are good. They just get in here and do the rest of your program for them. I'm like, all right, fine. And once we start doing the monthly sales reviews, and I'm not seeing activity goals be met, I'm not seeing any real improvement of a pipeline, they're still not meeting their goals, well then, at some point you can train someone, coach someone, and maybe they're the wrong someone. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's my favorite place to start. I'd rather them get best return on investment. So let's make sure we've got the right people before we start. And some people are, no, he's my uncle. He's my sister-in-law. So you got to deal with some situations like that. But certainly people is a huge part, as you alluded to.
Right. Well, and the I love the idea with the Wednesday meetups, the monthly meetups, because that Wednesday, what you call that Wednesday, every other Wednesday, that Pipeline Wednesday, that really puts a focus on and makes that muscle memory almost, as you had said, that at least for this period of time, every other Wednesday, I am going to be fully engaged in developing the pipeline, right? Because it can get pretty easy you start getting a few people in the pipeline, you're working some deals, life is pretty good. It's easy to get away from the things that you knew worked, right? So this kind of forces you back to some kind of as Martha Beck always says, the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Yes.
And I think I love that concept of that is it forces you to go back. It's discipline. I talk about discipline a lot, and that's really a discipline right there is this is my calendar's going to be free, not free, but my calendar is going to be plugged in every other Wednesday, regardless of what else I do. I'm doing Pipeline Wednesday, right?
Exactly, Randy. And when I'm teeing it off, when I'm introducing it to sales teams, it's not wing it Wednesday. It's not show up and say, who do I think I'm going to call today? No. That's got to happen on Monday and Tuesday. You've got to get your list ready because from 9, typically it's 9 to noon, depending on industries and time zones. Mm-hmm. All you're doing is outreach. So your list is already there. You're not looking people up on LinkedIn. You're not checking out websites. All of that's got to already been done. It's a bit like having a party. Yeah, if you want to clean your house, have a party. You'll get your house cleaned before your guests arrive, right?
Exactly.
If you want to build a pipeline, have Pipeline Wednesday. The same as you're talking about muscle memory, that sales muscle gets developed. And it's an ongoing every 2-week thing. So it's not something, it's never one and done. And we keep stats, we keep the standings. So there's always, one sales rep might have won it last Wednesday, but next Wednesday, the next sales rep wants to take the crown away from them. So it becomes competitive. But the outcome is everyone's getting better looking pipelines, right? So the activity that leads to the pipeline and the pipeline leads to the result. A lot of people, I've taught over 17,000 people, and I always ask this question in my classroom: how many of you wake up every morning and can't wait to make 30 cold calls? Right? I've had one hand go up in 25 years, and I was like, gosh, I wish we could clone that individual.
Right.
There's the only one that loves doing it, right? So that's why we've made a game out of it, to make it fun. So to take the hardest part of selling, which is the cold call, is it better to call referrals? Oh, absolutely. Call them first. Is it better to, ask your customers for referral? Yes, these are all things that you want to do, but you're constantly building that new list. Some companies from a marketing standpoint will go out and buy lists for their salespeople, industry lists. So there's lots of different ways to feed a list, but you always have to keep it fresh. My advice to anyone on Pipeline Wednesday: you call someone, you can't get a hold of them, you leave a voicemail, you tell them you're also going to email them, but until you get an absolute no, they stay on your list. 2 weeks later, I'm going to call them again, right? Until someone says, stop calling. I've had one person say years ago, how do I make you stop calling me? And my answer was, buy something.
There you go. I love it. That's awesome. Something that you really hit on a thread through this, which I think is so vitally important, is this preparation. Because you just said you don't show up at 9:00 on your Pipeline Wednesday and go, yeah, I guess I better flip through Google or flip through LinkedIn or someplace and try to find a lead or two to call. You've already lost at that point, right? Now there's literally no time to catch up. So I think preparation is so important, and that's something that I put in my calendar. It's in there every single day. 365 days a year. It never goes away. There's three things, but at 7:30 now, it can be different times. It's just so it's there. But preparation, right? You always got to prepare for tomorrow, today, and that's a bit of a stretch. I mean, I'm not saying you wait till tonight to prepare tomorrow. You might be preparing for next week or next month or next quarter, but the theory is the same, right? You can't wait until it's time. That would be literally like, it drives me crazy, and I'd love to have you speak on this. Guys salespeople that will walk into a customer or call a new customer and ask them what they do. Do you guys do this? Do you guys make this widget? Do you guys offer this service? It's like, in today's world, if you don't know that, you're wasting their time, your time, and you're looking foolish, because back in the day, I just said Google them, for Pete's sake. Look up their website. Nowadays, find them on LinkedIn. You know exactly what they do, what they sell, who your competitors are. And so that's all part of that preparation, isn't it? To be more prepared before you even make that initial call.
Absolutely, Randy. Preparation. The old saying, if you get 30 minutes to chop down a cherry tree, the first 20 minutes you're sharpening your axe. I mean, Henry Ford, the secret to success is preparation, right? It's right. And I agree. And I think we've always got to be in execution mode and planning mode, right? Because, and maybe you draw a ledger down the front of your notepad that, what do I have to get ready to do? Okay, I've got this coming tomorrow. How do I get ready? How do I best get ready for that? Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So that dedication to preparation, Randy, we're on the very same page with that, my friend, certainly. And Pipeline Wednesday is no different. You have to be ready, and you don't even update your pipeline. You don't update Sales Look while you're making those 3 hours. Make notes, update later. You want to smile and dial for 3 straight hours. And you're not trying to sell anything. You're trying to sell the value of having a 20, 30-minute meeting. That's all you're trying to get. You're trying to get in the door to say hello, explore their needs, position your value, and see if there's a fit. That's all the goal is on Pipeline Wednesday.
You see, and I love that, Ian, because so many people, I think young, and that can be young as in chronological age or young just in the profession of sales, don't they make a mistake sometimes of trying to sell too soon? Are we ready to sell yet? How do I even know what you are, what you're about, what you do? It's isn't it an interview process both ways? We always think that they're interviewing us, but as a sales pro, we better be interviewing that customer, and that's where the preparation comes in. Is I've got 3/4 of that interview done already, because I already know what you sell. I know who you're buying it from. I'm going to probably have a pretty idea what your price structure is based on your size, because I've already figured out how big you are. So you've got a lot of that done before we even start that process. But I would love to hear your opinion on this, but I see so many guys that it's like the first phone call they would make on this Wednesday deal, for example, would be trying to sell something. And you hit it on the right on the head a minute ago. This is about literally getting the next step. Let's get the appointment, right? That's all. And a lot of times we forget that you give them too much, there's no reason for the appointment, right? I've got enough that I don't think I'm interested. Am I on target with that at all?
You're totally on target with it. And part of my 2-day training, I've got videotaped interviews with 3 CEOs, right? And I asked them 3 different questions. What do you hate about salespeople? What do they do that just makes you want to throw them out of your office? And some of the feedback from that question, Randy, is profound. It really is. And salespeople are usually taking notes in the class. Can you play that video again? They're in shock. How should a salesperson get prepared to have a meeting with you? And that's bang on point with what you're talking about. Your job on the first call is to leave it in the trunk of your car. What's it? Whatever you sell. Your product, your service, your subscription. You're not trying to sell a product. You're trying to sell the value of a relationship with you. So that you've already done your homework, your pre-work. You understand the company. Maybe you've got some ideas on what their business pains are educated and ready to come in talking about that, asking questions about that. And what does that say to the prospect? Wow, you've done your homework.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just making a cold call here. This is someone who's
Right.
invested in the process and is in a better position to help me because they are. Right. So
Right.
you've already built some relationship because of that pre-work, that homework that exists. And then the other thing you got to watch out for is when things are going well on that first call, you're getting a sense that you're going to get another meeting. The worst thing you can do is try and throw a cheesy close at them.
Yeah.
Would you like to buy a blue one or a red one? Which hand's the marble in? No. I mean, all you're trying to get as a result out of that first call is another call, maybe with other people, other decision makers in the organization. Don't try. I'd rather them say, well, how can I get a hold of this? Oh, thanks for asking. Instead of how many would you like, right? I'd like to create the demand and let them ask about the supply rather than the other way around.
Exactly. And it's been said many a time in many different ways. And what you just hit on is spot on is how do I sell more? Stop selling, right? Especially there's a time to close, but you have to earn that right. And you have to be in that position where the timing is right, because you don't want to miss an opportunity to close. You want to be aware that there's those buying signals for the guys almost screaming, please let me buy something. Right. And then you get some salespeople that under certain training programs, well, hold on, Ian, but I've got 7 more steps to go through yet.
No.
I have 0 steps. I have get my pad out, press hard. There's 3 copies, right? I mean, right. I mean, but I've seen guys that, especially if they're taught in, and I am by no means a pro in this area because I'm not a same day closer. I'm a relationship program type guy, but I've been around and know that industry enough and work and train some of these people in my products that I've got this 12-step system. Well, we need to walk through each step. And yes, sometimes you do.
Yeah.
But I say you walk through that system like we just said until the guy says, so I'm a little short on time, Ian, but I love everything you've got to say. Everything about the product, the price is right. What do we do to get going here?
Great.
Yeah, we don't go.
For me, let's put together a proposal or a quotation, or in fact, just give me the order.
Just give me the order. You're right. I'll write it on the back of my hand right now if we need to, right?
Absolutely. I call that, Randy, overselling.
Yes.
So back in my days at Apple, I spent 10 years with Apple, as you know, and my first job there was looking after dealer sales, the partners who had stores and selling. So I was watching some of the dealer sales staff demonstrate the Macintosh to people. And with the mouse, oh, look at this. And you could see the customer just reaching for their wallet. They wanted to take 2 home with them.
Right.
And there's one sales guy, oh, wait, there's more. Let me show you what else it can do. And so, yeah, no, I'm ready to go. He said, no, but there's more. And the guy walked out the door and didn't buy. So he was overselling. And what comes down to not listening. I mean,
right.
When you boil it back to its bare bones, it's listen to the customer, respond to their needs. And sometimes their needs is to buy something and move on with their day.
Right. Well, they'll always, right? Customers almost always will tell you how to sell them if you just ask some open-end questions and shut up and listen.
Absolutely.
They'll tell you exactly. And you're spot on to that, because I know some people in the home improvement world that will get you booted quicker than probably anything is the dreaded incredible demo person. But they never come back with a sale.
Right.
And that's exactly what you just said. I can spend 3.5 hours building this whole project on your kitchen table for you, but the husband and wife want to go to dinner tonight, and they've seen enough 12 minutes in that I would just like to buy this roof from you, please, if I could.
Absolutely. I remember when we used to take customers down to Cupertino back in the Apple day, and I'm talking big enterprise size accounts. And the briefing staff were so good in Cupertino, there'd be a questionnaire for the sales rep to fill in, to allow to have a briefing. And it forced the salesperson to say, what does the customer want to see and why is that important to them? And those 2 questions are way better than let me show you all the bells and whistles that I've got, right? So what's in it for them and why is that? The why is probably going to address their business pain. And that's
exactly. Yeah, because what's your why? We talk about that a lot. but it's the customer's why that's important, not my why.
Exactly.
My why in this relationship amounts to about zero value, right? They know my why. I'm a sales guy. They probably my why is I want to sell you something, right?
But and then Randy's is a when one. When I'm coaching salespeople, I'm looking at they've got a deal in their pipeline and it's sitting and qualified, which is a good place to be. I ask 7 questions, and one of them is, when is this order going to happen? And I might hear an answer like, well, in March. And then I'll say, well, why is March important? Well, it's going to happen in March. I said, no. Why is that date important to the customer?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because I need the commission in April. That's the wrong answer.
Wrong answer.
That's not the right answer.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. So another thing that popped in my head as we're talking, you're obviously very process and performance oriented. And with process comes a mindset of being very dedicated, very following some very A becomes B, becomes C, becomes D. Well, we just talked about it, and I think it reminds me of something that I have every morning at 7:30 on my phone, which is to adjust, to be an adjuster, because sometimes the best laid plans, wherever you fall in this whole process, you've got to make adjustments, right? And so do we have to guard against being we want to be dedicated and disciplined enough to follow the steps that work, but we also have to be ready to make that adjustment or that adaptation if and when the time comes to make it, and recognize that it's time to do that, right?
Yeah, now the pipeline is and I know what you're saying. I mean, sales methodology, tools, process, that does need to be consistent. There is a massive amount of room for personality, style, flexibility. Every customer journey is unique often to itself.
Right.
So the pipeline is about reporting. Where is it actually right now? It's in that. We got that up on the screen. Thanks, Wes. So we've moved a deal from, as an example, from discovered in the process to qualified. That means we've gained enough information and believe we're on the short list. Things are, we met the decision maker, right? So however that happens is really up to the salesperson and the customer. It's a relationship, right? This is just a way to give us a standard status for tracking all of our processes. So when the manager rolls up all the pipelines, now forecasting doesn't become an art form. There's some predictive business science going on underneath it, right? But you're right. Flexibility. Everyone's going to, as long as we're all singing the same song, we're all going to maybe play different instruments and how we contribute to the band, right? But someone plays drums, someone plays lead guitar. Great. As long as we're all on the same song. And that's what the pipeline really is, about standardizing the process. Yeah.
Yes. And speaking of that music, I was just, not that this matters to anything, but I was in 5th grade. I played the cornet, which is like a trumpet. When I say I played it, I was 6th chair. There's only 5 chairs. That's all. So we had one concert in 6th grade, and my music teacher said, "So Randy, we're gonna have the concert." She said, "Just put it up to your lips, act like you're blowing, and just move your fingers up and down. But it'd probably be best if you didn't play."
You were playing the same song, though.
But I was playing it. I was humming it in my head.
Yeah.
And in my head, I felt that was a better performance than the next month when we had to play, and I was a Red Robin, which was another story for another day. But things that haunt you.
About that.
Yes. So Ian, thank you so much. So that's some great insight. I always love chatting to you about this and your people, process, and performance. And in a minute, we're going to talk, as we really end, on how people can get a hold of that and how they can take advantage of this with you. I always like to ask at the end, instead of FAQ and SAQ, should ask question is, what did we miss today that you spent the last 20 minutes saying, Randy, you shut up and ask me this? There's got to be something.
I mean, you guys are such great hosts. The second time back for me on your Building Wins podcast, which is a fabulous podcast. You do an awesome job at it. So I'm just blessed and grateful to be here with you today. I'd love to make an offer. I'd love to give something away.
We like that.
So our part of our process component is the Sales Look app. So it's pipeline management software. It's not CRM. There it is on the screen again. Thanks, Wes. And so this is a tool to help track and manage your pipeline. It's very simple. It takes zero time. You can do it on a phone, a tablet, a computer. And we're getting rave reviews with the software. It completely integrates the methodology that I teach. But I'd like to give all of our listeners a 30-day free trial of Sales Look, as long as you give us some feedback on what you thought. That would be valuable for our ongoing development efforts, because we are also developing a newer platform of it as we speak. But I'd like to get it in the hands of salespeople far and wide to get their first impressions of how it might be able to help them. So, Wes, there'll be a link on LinkedIn here, but that's the page you'll go to sign up for your free trial. And I love helping salespeople sell more, and this tool will help you do exactly that.
Awesome. Hey, the price is right and the quality is high end. That's the first thing that drew me to you was your high level of professionalism, which still remains, but you're a pretty darn good guy too. I like that.
Well, I appreciate that. I feel the same about you, my friend.
Well,
you and Wes.
I appreciate it. Well, so folks, man, take advantage. This is I can say this, if it's something that Ian puts together, my friends, you want to try it. You want to try it. It's going to be good. You're going to enjoy it. What do you got to lose? 30 days. Check it out. We've been running how to get a hold of you across the bottom. People want to chat with you. They can reach out to your website. They can reach out to you on LinkedIn. Follow you on LinkedIn. I assume you're taking new clients.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I'm fairly active with a couple of right now, but there's always room for one or two more, depending on size and so on. And I'm not afraid to get on an airplane, so it doesn't matter where you are. I'll jump on a bus in the sky anytime to help someone out, for sure.
There you go. Beautiful. Ian, I appreciate the time as always, my brother.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Wes, and thank you all for listening.
All right. Thank you, my friend. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. Ian Selbie. That is good stuff. That is the consummate sales pro right there. I have been blessed the last 2 or 3 years to get to know Ian quite well. And he's first class, knows what he's talking about, an outstanding coach. Read his stuff. Follow him on LinkedIn or other social media, but especially LinkedIn. And follow what this guy has. It's really, really good, and you will not be sorry. Check out his free 30-day offer. That's it for today. I am going to get out of here and get on to some other Source One marketing work for the rest of the afternoon and some dinner. So as always, remember, love is you, do what you love. Live it, love it, and own it. And while you're at it, go make today your best day ever. Until tomorrow. Cheers, my friends.